We on? Yeah. Good morning, Dudley. Are you ready for the beautiful weekend? Anyways, this meeting is being recorded. Let's do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yes. Okay, Joanne.
Okay, we'll get started here. What do we got? I make a motion to approve motor vehicle abatements for the month of June for $7,343.62.
Second.
You skipped,
Unanimous?
you skipped the minutes on number 3.
Make a motion to approve the motor vehicle
You gotta do three.
abatements for the month.
You
Oh,
gotta
I
do
didn't
number
do
three.
three. Oh,
Yeah.
I make a motion to approve the minutes for June 9th, 2023.
Second.
Unanimous?
Make a motion to approve motor vehicle abatements month of July for $1,066.14.
Second.
Unanimous?
Make a motion to approve the levy for 18R in the amount of $144.22.
Second.
Unanimous?
Make a motion to approve the levy of 2023 commitment number 4 in the amount of $70,770.79.
Second.
Unanimous?
Okay, we're up to old business.
We do. We gotta reorganize.
Oh, yes.
Oh, okay, that's easier. I make a motion.
You told me to put that on here, but
I know.
that was like a week ago.
I know, well, you do wanna get rehired, don't you?
I guess I would like that.
So we gotta do the board first?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, I make a motion to have chairman be Conrad Allen.
Second.
Well, thank you.
Okay.
Make its record.
I'll make a motion that David be do we need a secretary?
Yep.
Secretary.
Second?
Do I say something on this one? No? Okay, do
Are
I
you
vote on-
accepting?
Oh, sorry, I guess so.
So I need a second. So-
I did, I seconded it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'll second, I'll third it if you want. Do you want my coffee?
All right, now are we up to where we need to be to appoint our assessor?
Yes, we are.
I make a motion that we appoint Lisa as the assessor, the loan assessor.
The loan assessor,
The loan-
oh my
It
God.
would be okay if you didn't
Assessing
appoint me.
There's no
at this
contact,
point.
huh?
Second.
Unanimous.
And unfortunately, we don't need to appoint any clerks. We don't have any money for any clerks, so at the moment, I guess we're not doing
Do
anything
you know that
else.
she has to spend her own $75 to get her MAA license?
Oh, well,
That's crazy.
it is crazy.
So if the school override passes though, we have the clerk for a half a year? Is that what it was?
For a half a year, but you can't hire somebody saying, we're only gonna have you for a half a year.
Part-time, like 20 hours instead of 40 hours?
Well,
I don't know if that would do any good because there's so much training that needs
Right,
to
I
be
just
done.
said the
It's
same
a
thing.
good 3 months training to be beneficial to the office.
It's better than nothing, right? Better than you doing it by yourself.
Well, I'm gonna either spend the time getting the job done or I'm gonna spend the time training somebody new. So it's gonna take away from the time, and this is a really bad time of year because we're reassessing the town right now. So I'm not gonna have extra time. Now, if the overrides, all the overrides pass, then we'll be made whole, we'll be level funded. Then at that point.
yeah, then you can go find somebody again.
Right.
We know
But
how
at least
hard-
it'll be funded for a full fiscal
I agree.
year.
Have you looked into what they start at though? Like a starting clerk? Because I know obviously Mary had 6 years experience.
Gary left at $19 an hour after 5 years. She
40.
started at 14.
You don't control that, the personnel board controls.
Well, we don't
We
have a
don't
personnel board.
personnel
Yeah.
board.
Yeah, well, that's John.
Right.
John does the personnel,
I'm
so.
just saying, we're not gonna need 40,000, we could start it with 35,000, it's 14. She started at 14. We don't
Well,
need
you go to McDonald's to get more than that.
We could, but would you rather sit in an EC office? I'd rather work as an assessor than at McDonald's.
There's 2 million jobs available, only 1 million people looking.
Right.
I
So
mean,
history shows I've had to do a hire 7 times. And history shows I never had an applicant that was qualified for the job. So because we pay so little, we don't get anybody with experience. And then there's a good 3 to 6 months that I'm training that person, so the workload slows down once again for training that person. And I'm out of the office a lot doing building permits, so what do I do with a newbie in the office that's gonna get, questions that they can't answer? I mean, obviously, that person could say, wait till the assessor gets back,
Take a message.
or take a message. I mean, if we could get somebody in with experience, because we pay, that would be perfect.
So what's that, 40,000?
40,000 is the bottom
$20 an hour.
end of the beginning rate. It's the very low end.
The perfect candidate would be somebody who's retired from being in the assessing field
Yeah.
and is
Or
looking
an
to still
appraiser.
stay active, or an appraiser.
And not
Yeah.
looking for a lot of money.
Yeah. So it becomes about fewer hours, maybe getting a more competent person who can do the work in fewer hours, versus getting somebody new, spend 6 months just teaching them some of the basics, and they're really not functional to do anything more than real clerical work. And the job is more than that. If you don't understand the process,
Right.
and you don't understand the requirements of what we have to meet, people think they always think it's gonna be more interesting than it is. It's only interesting if you had experience with real estate and enjoy that part and the information. Other than that, it's a lot of data collection and entry, and a little bit of dealing with the public on doing this.
And knowing Mass General Law, which comes as you
Yeah,
progress.
As you get experience.
Right.
yeah. It is. We're in the catch-22. Right now, we are on a respirator. That's what we are. We have her in there doing as much as she can do to still keep us in line with the state and not get
That's not
ourselves
gonna happen.
in trouble.
That's not gonna happen.
Well, I know.
I
Well,
mean,
and,
for example, we have 400 building permits.
yeah,
I mean, never mind seeing them, she's gotta input them.
yeah.
I just,
It's not physically capable.
no.
I went 4 months without a clerk and made a huge error because I just couldn't keep up with everything, and it wasn't in the town's favor.
Yeah,
And that's not my class of work.
yeah.
So,
I mean, you can go anywhere else and get 25 grand more a year.
Southbridge is hiring 90 grand.
Is that right?
For what, the clerk?
No, for the assessor. Yeah.
And people don't understand that we're an advisory board and we oversee it. Lisa runs the daily operations
Well,
of the assessing
but
department.
the town made us that. We used to go out and measure the houses.
I
We used to
remember.
do that work.
Yep.
So that the assessor didn't have to.
Yeah,
We'd go out in teams and, 400 building permits, we'd divide them up and we get it done. And that was for like, I don't know, 18 grand a year for
Yeah.
the three of us?
yeah.
And now we pay a reval company 60 or 70 grand to do the same work? I mean, it's bizarre.
All we can keep doing is let the public understand why we do what we do. Now, right now, people think you're working a day a week. They don't understand. You're working your regular work week. It's that if you were jumping up to meet somebody at a counter every 2 minutes and answering a phone, you couldn't get any work done, so we are limited. And,
But not having things on the internet
Oh, yeah.
is just
oh, yeah.
exacerbating the problem.
I'm inundated with
With
requests for
field
maps
cards.
and field
Just feel, I mean,
cards.
it's just bizarre.
Yeah,
So now I'm doing the work of 2 people, plus additional work that wasn't there before. I've had people, really nice people, come up and volunteer in the office.
yeah.
But we have such confidential, we have people's income in there, we have their bank
Can't do
accounts,
that.
there's just so much confidential information that I don't think it's a good thing. I appreciate them asking to volunteer
Again,
to
I
help.
have, I will make that offer again to help you whenever you need that, you know that. But it's,
All we can do is keep trying to inform the public of why we do what we do and why our budget is the way our budget is. We can't account for everybody
our
else.
budget right now is lower than it was 30 years ago.
I know it. I know.
30 years ago.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it's, anyways,
So,
it is what it is until it isn't.
correct.
So,
I'm just gonna do the best that I can with what I have. I'm gonna just
Well,
prioritize things and
But
stuff's gonna fall behind.
I can see what's gonna happen. We're not gonna set a tax rate. We are not gonna be able to set a tax rate. That means the town's gonna have to go borrow at this interest rates that are out of the world right now. Anyways, sorry.
Yeah. Well, again, I think we're responsible to give our information out to the public. I prefer the newspaper. I am not a fan of Facebook. People are swearing on Facebook. That is ridiculous. I don't wanna be associated.
I don't even look
with-
at this
with-
crap.
Yeah, that makes no sense to me. I think we need to keep doing a news release of what the Assessors Department in Dudley is doing, what your schedule is, what things that you are covering for a couple of weeks at a time, and let them know where we're at. That's our obligation to the public. Other than that, we are what we are, and we have to wait until they figure it out.
And my voicemail states that I'm only open on Thursdays, and that if you want a map or a field card or any information, leave a voicemail or email me and I'll get it out to you. Nobody's listening to my voicemail because I got a really nasty voicemail last Monday saying you're supposed to be open on Wednesdays and I want these field cards and you shouldn't have access. Everybody should have access and I want the login to the mapping, and I called that person back and set them straight, but you didn't even listen to my voicemail that says I'm open on Thursdays.
Oh,
And
it's
if you
on
want a
the
field
door.
card and a map, just ask.
Yeah,
Instead, they just went off on me.
yeah. There's no excuse for that.
So even put the information out there, nobody looks at it.
Well, but you know what? We gotta do what we gotta do to cover ourselves.
And you have to do what you have to do.
Correct.
Do not have any kind of a nervous breakdown on us because
Can you explain the request that had come up through the selectman's office or through the administrator about somebody taking a class and wanting access? Because that's an interesting
Taking a
scenario.
class.
So we have an intern here who's fantastic at what she does, but I was told yesterday that John wanted a person added on to Gateway to take the course 101 that you just took. I found this out through the grapevine because Lori needed help doing it. And I went, wait a minute, and nobody talked to us. Nobody said, hey, can you put her on under the assessors so that she can take course 101? Why is she taking course 101? I'm assuming John was trying to help her get educated about our office so she could be a floater in our office at some point. But there's proper chain of command, and I was just taken aback that I was hearing this through somebody else and no memo,
Well,
no,
not only that, she's going back to school.
Isn't she leaving like in middle of
next
August?
week, I think. Yeah. So it's like, I kind of understand what he was trying to do, but why do I have to find out third party?
Well, and he
And
doesn't.
why wasn't the board asked? I mean, you guys are in charge of me. Why weren't you asked? And then you could have asked me, what's this all about? It upset me a little bit.
Well, and
I don't blame you.
It was like
Yeah.
backdoored. And I don't care who takes 101. The more education, the better. That's not my point. It's like, there's a proper chain of command here.
Well, it's not only about command, it's about access to material. And I don't think somebody who is not part of our office should be getting access.
Absolutely not.
We even as on the board are not accessing information. People who are on the daily operations are the ones who need access.
Well, in answer to that, there are a bunch of settings, so there would not have been, I would have made sure there was no access to anything. It would have just been access
I mean,
to the
you have
course.
a one-user system now. It's not a multi-user system. It's just you. That's all we have the money for.
So I think we should respond and let them know. that-
Absolutely.
We just need some, all I asked for is communication. Nothing makes me more mad than when I hear it from another office about our office that we should have been notified about so we know what's going on. It's just a lack of communication.
It's also a function of being poorly run also.
Well,
The morale in this town hall is absolutely in the toilet. And I've never seen a more unhappier group of people in my life. But mean anything. I have no control over that.
So
Do we
can-
have access to that?
No,
No.
Like,
No.
could we?
no.
It's
Have
a
access
one-user
to what?
system, I just told
To
you.
the-
One user, one password.
We used to have, what do you mean?
We used to have a lot of things.
I'm talking about vision, like if we could print out vision cards.
She is the only one that has a password.
I can't let anybody else in for the simple fact that values could get changed, whether on purpose or accidentally. It should only be one user.
I wasn't sure if there was something like, you know, you'd send the person to us, if they're looking for field cards, we could just email to that person.
No, it's not our job.
Right.
That's her job.
Kind of our job too, though.
No, it isn't. If you
We're
read
an
our job
advisory board.
description, it's not our job. And too many fingers, people who don't understand, if I said to you, tell me the 3 ways to arrive at value, can you give me a rendition that appraisers look at stuff differently? You don't know her job.
I'm not trying to do her job, I'm saying like if
Well, you
someone's
are,
asking
because
for
you're
a
saying-
field card, we
no.
could print it out and give
No.
it to them.
The way we did it before the public had access, that was fine. We should not be going through the system. She's got work that's ongoing.
Well, first of all, it's a one-user system. There's only one password. That means she has access to everything. If
Yeah.
you can get to a field card, you can get to everything.
Yeah.
So pretty
that's-
much what I'm doing right now, Dave, is I'm prioritizing where, you know, people can wait a day for a map or a
Yeah.
fields card. So if I get it, like, say I'm in the middle, like, right now I'm in the middle of assessing the town again. If I get a break in between that, then I take the time to send out the maps and field. They're not waiting 2 weeks for field cards. They're gonna get them. They're just not gonna get it instantly like they always did.
And people who are smart understand there's other ways to access. Conrad and I can figure out through Warren Group, through other ways to get our information.
Absolutely.
So I send my whole database once a year over to Banker and Tradesman, which is considered public records, right?
Yep.
With
Yep,
with
yep, it's all-
realtors.
it's all public record.
So they can access everything on there.
So, should the public know about that then, right?
No, it's the they know about it. Well, it's the realtors and the brokers that I'm talking about. I very rarely get a request from homeowners for
And
those.
Plus insurance companies too.
Yeah.
And the insurance companies, yeah, mortgage companies. But they're aware of the public records.
Yeah, it's, I understand what you're trying to do. It's just, we don't have access.
Yeah.
Before we had access, because it was a multi-user system.
Well, a couple weeks ago we had access because everybody had access.
Right.
Well,
So I'm
that's the
saying,
fiscal
like,
year changed.
Yeah, I know, but if there's a way to set it so we could just,
Well, we don't have the money for a multi-user system.
right,
That's the problem. We don't have money for the, I mean,
And that was a measly $4,000.
I mean, they just, I mean, they just, it just.
does
$4,000.
that include maps too, the GIS? or
Yep.
GIS?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they were attached, the field cards were attached to the mapping program, and
So we can spend 20K on legal fees in the first month
Right.
of the year, but we can't spend
Right.
4K on
Correct.
computer
Now you got
software?
it.
Yep.
Now you got it.
I've had it for a long time.
We are the advocates for our department. We are the people who try to keep things moving. That's why by making the public understand that what happened is part of a budget system, not something that we wish to have happen, but it is what it is until the situation is resolved.
And they don't understand the law right now.
No.
If Charlton passes it, we have no other alternative but to go along with it. We have no control over that,
Yeah.
nothing. And if you look and see, the school budget did nothing. They did nothing to cut their budget. Nothing.
They cut it 90,000.
On how big a budget? How many millions?
They have 10 million, I believe.
Yeah, okay, that's not even 1%. That's 1/10 of 1%.
Better than what the town did.
Well, yeah, the town went backwards, you're absolutely right.
we all cut, every single department cut their budgets
By 10%.
I don't have an expense account to even buy ink cartridges to keep my printers running anymore. My education account is 0. I can't get designated now, and I'm up next year, and I lose my designation, and I can't practice in the state of Massachusetts without that designation, and there's no money to get my education. I crammed as much in as I could just in case this happened, but there's only so many courses that are offered that I could do within our budget. It'd be easier for me to just go to another town, because I'm not gonna pay out of my pocket. I've given 20 years to this town, and if they can't pay for me to get my designation every 2 years, then they don't appreciate me. I'll move on.
You
I'm
should
done.
have anyways.
I've been screwed by this town 7 times in 20 years, and I'm not doing it again.
You know how I feel about it, you should have left a long time ago. But, in any event, let's, have we discussed the roles of the board?
You just did.
Okay.
Yep.
Joanne, what about September 8th?
September 8th will work for me, that's okay.
Yep.
It's fine for me.
Oh, I forgot to tell you guys, that should have been under new business too. I'll be out of the country from the 18th to the 28th, so it'll be 2 Thursdays in a row that I won't be
18th of
open.
what?
This month, a couple weeks, to the 28th. Jackie has offered to help out a little bit. I've put the motor vehicle excise abatement applications out front, that's the most requested things. The steps there on how to file for an abatement are there. People need to know they have 3 years to apply for this, so 2 weeks is not gonna make a difference. We suggest that you pay your excise bill, don't let it go, and then apply for the abatement, and then we'll reimburse you. There's a drop-off box outside my door for anybody that needs to drop off anything, whether it be their exemptions, their income and expense reports, their sales questionnaires, and when I come back, and it's a locked box, don't
Will
put,
somebody have access to the office? We don't. I mean, will somebody at the town hall have access?
yes,
Okay.
yes,
In case of, I don't know what in
Yeah.
case of, but in case of.
yes, I believe John has a master
Okay.
to everything. There shouldn't be anything crucial when I'm open one day a week. I won't be answering my emails. I won't be taking messages. The messages are going right to my emails. So people just have to sit tight for 2 weeks. I can't picture anything that would be that drastic that they would
No,
would
there
need.
aren't any real estate crisis that go through our department. Our crisis will be with the state when they're looking for us to
That's
fix
the,
stuff.
that's gonna be the
That's-
whole problem, is complying with the state, because if we
Yeah.
don't do it, they'll do it.
Yeah,
At twice the cost.
In preliminary interims, it looks like single families are going up about 8%.
Well, again,
As
you know,
preliminary right
people
now.
think the assessment goes up, that means their bill's gonna go up. It doesn't. The assessment goes up, the tax rate goes down. So it's an equalizer, it'll go up
So
2.5%.
depending on where you are with that increase.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, will waterfronts go up more as a single family than single families? Probably.
Right.
So, that's just the category, single families.
So I'll have a report that I'll send out to you guys once I get it. It's being worked on right now.
just try and stay in the survival mode. Just stay
Yes.
mentally sane, do what you have to do the basic things
Do what you can
that
do.
we have to do.
Well, it's really
And we'll
sad
take it
because,
from
you know,
there.
elderly would come up to our counter with their exemptions and Mary and I would stop to help them fill it out, and I can't do it anymore.
Yeah,
I asked them to please go see a relative and have them fill it out. Well, you guys always filled it out before. Well, I can't, I'm in the middle of assessing.
yeah.
I'm in the middle of, doing values. I can't stop every senior that comes to my counter to help them anymore.
Again,
can't.
I think I've told you this before, I am a firm believer if you educate people as to how things work, people will work with you. Our job is really do our own news releases periodically on what is going on in our department. We can't account for everybody else, and let them know we're there, we're moving forward, we're doing what we could do, but we don't control everything. And I think
People
we
have to
need share
understand,
that.
things happen. Just as an example, I got a request for 5 abutters lists in the last 2 days.
Wow.
My GIS is broken.
Hopefully.
It won't allow me to do the abutters lists.
Yeah.
So now
We have to do
I'm
by
working.
hand again then.
So,
That's how we used to do it.
yeah, I was here for that.
Were you there?
Yeah, you draw the line, you gotta
Yeah,
measure out how many
exactly.
feet
Yeah.
from the
Yeah,
parcel.
Yeah.
And then you have to hand type all the addresses in
Yeah.
and the letter. So luckily yesterday, the person at Cartographics gave me her credentials
Yeah.
to get in to keep me going, but it is broken. So that's the first
Isn't
thing
the
I,
vendor that has to fix it then?
yeah, they're working on it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's not something that's gonna, and then today we're migrating over from the cloud on Vision, cause we lost that. That was like $6,000 cut from the budget, and now we're migrating to our server. And that's going backwards, because if something's broken, which happens occasionally, or if they have to update us, they did it on the cloud with no interruptions to us, they did it behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Now we're gonna have to stop what we're doing, everybody's gonna, we're gonna have to have just the one computer on,
Yeah.
and I won't be able to work on it while they're doing their updates. We're just going backwards.
unfortunately, the world's run by the people who show up. People who didn't show up put this town in the position that it's at.
But everybody's gonna expect the same service from me.
Well, we can only do our part, and again, I am a big advocate of people can make informed choices based on having information. Ranting and raving accomplishes nothing, pointing fingers accomplishes nothing. It's about get a plan,
Yep.
move it forward. And sometimes we gotta tighten the belt a little bit, we all gotta make concessions, but if you really care about the community you live in, you're gonna do what you have to do. People still don't understand, as Conrad pointed earlier, that a tax rate is what you spent determine where you are going. That's what's gonna affect your tax rate. That's, all we do is raise the revenue to do that. We keep a watch on the values, so you don't get shocked. I remember the year, and Conrad remembers, when the values went down so much, we had to go in and make adjustments, or people would have had shell shock
Well,
later on.
Remember we did the condos?
Yes.
Because they were just so out of line with the market, and we did the whole thing as a class.
Yeah,
Or we would have been killed, our abatement account would have been just blown up.
yeah.
And it used to be, we'd do a reval every 3 years, nothing in between.
Right, I know that.
So that's why
Right.
they have us do interims in
Yes.
between, so we can keep up with the market, so that all of a sudden, there's not a massive change on that third year.
Well, every 3 years meant really 5 years, because you were a year and a half behind to start out with.
Right.
So
The
it was-
sales, yeah.
Yeah, it was a 5-year, oh my God, the shock, yes.
It was okay when the values were low.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and it's the catch-22, as your property goes up. You're hoping that your property will appreciate, and then it's gonna get reflected in your value system in the community. But again, it's all about a plan. We have done really well as a department to plan, stay within budget, and keep moving forward. We're in our position, not by things we've done, but the town as a whole has done. So now we're trying to adjust and move forward. And people have to bear with us and be respectful of the people who work in our department and go with that. You can't be having rant raves and going on because we're all suffering at this point. And
But we, the Assessors Department, for the last 20 years have been successful because of that lady
oh,
there.
absolutely.
Because of her
Absolutely.
planning, because of her organization, not because of the town.
Yeah.
The
Yep.
town has been anything but helpful in anything. I'm ranting, sorry.
No, well, again, this is informational. Again, I said to Lee, I tell her all the time, you have to do a few news releases about what we do, so people will understand, because people, then suddenly, when they wonder why did things happen, well, we keep you informed all along what we've been doing. We let you know when things are coming up that you need to pay attention to. That's the best that we can do. And I think it's done well. We've had good people, dependable people. I bet if we went back and ever looked at who's ever been out of our department for illness, they probably have come in, crawled in when they had to do what they had to do.
I remember
and move
Michelle
forward.
crawled into my office with 104 fever from Lyme disease, and she still
Michelle
worked her
Jervis?
day.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think we need to do that. We need the public to understand, if you wanna look for things, then look at the big picture. Go with the flow a little bit, cut people some slack in their departments. It's not that they're not working. They've had to cut their exposure to the public to get their job done. And fortunately, technology does allow you to do some things remotely. A lot of these departments work with numbers. You can't be interrupted continuously when you're working with numbers. You're just asking for a
Especially
problem.
when you're alone.
Yes. So,
Well, you experienced that when that math error happened.
$25,000 I was involved. That's when I went to the selectmen
yeah,
and said, something needs to be done.
yeah.
You know, this
Well,
isn't.
hang in there, don't go over the edge.
And everybody's gonna get what they need.
Yeah,
They're just not gonna get it instantly anymore.
Correct.
It's not like I'm not gonna give the service. They're gonna get it, but it's not gonna be instantly like when they went online and got their property record card.
Correct.
And plan ahead. Don't call me or email me that you need it right now.
yeah,
If you know something's coming up, give me a few days.
yeah. Well, I think we covered what I wanted to bring up earlier, so I think that we're good. I'm good with that September 8th. I mean, if we don't have anything else, we have to go into an executive
Yes, we
session.
do.
Oh,
Do I have to say anything or read a speech
You have to
of
vote
some
to
sort?
adjourn first.
I make a motion, we adjourn the public meeting.
Unanimous. Do I still have that speech to do?
It's right at the number 13.
Oh. Okay, we vote to convene into executive session under MGL Chapter 30A and 21A7 to comply with or act under the authority of any general or special law or federal grant and aid requirement. Discussion of applications for tax abatements and/or exemptions, including any necessary votes pursuant to GL 59 and 60 and/or GLC 214 and 1B as applicable.
Okay, I make a motion not to reconvene. Joanne Simsack, aye.
Dave Durgan, aye.
Conrad Allen, aye.
Okay, what do we got?